everyone, and welcome back to Sunday Reads with Renee at Simply Renee. My name is Renee. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to my channel thus far, as well as everyone who's liked, shared, commented, and viewed my videos. I truly appreciate it, and it really helps my channel to grow. Today's video is going to be a double review of two Tia Williams books, which is A Love Song for Ricki Wilde and 7 Days in June. And these are two books that I really love because of the romance and the fluff and how well written they are. And I wanted to really follow up with more of the romantic stuff because when I did Jane Austen ranking books last week, it was a lot of the romance stuff. And I realized I did a lot more dark, edgy stuff up until now. So I really wanted to do a little bit of a lighter, fluffier flair here for these video with two Tia Williams books that, while do have their tragic elements to it, are still very much a romantic fluff piece that I really enjoy and really tugs at your heart and makes you feel good at the end. So before I begin, though, I want to let everyone know I'm going to be revealing some plot points, so please be forewarned that spoilers are ahead. The first review I'll do is Tia Williams' book, A Love Song for Ricki Wilde. And this was published in 2024. And I remember when I read it upon its first publication, and it was fabulous. I really enjoyed it. It was an extremely engrossing read that was hard to put down. And I really just liked it overall. The story is about a young woman named Ricki Wilde who lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and is expected, like the rest of her family members, to rise up in the Wilde funeral home business that is very popular and successful, but that's not what Ricki's path wants to be. She instead wants to open her own flower shop, and she has ambitions to do that. She's worked hard to save up enough money to buy a flower shop, and she also has gone to college so she can get a horticultural degree as well as going off into more of an Instagram following with doing a lot of these expressive, beautiful flower arrangements that are quite popular. So she's had quite a lot of success for it and really wants her dream to take off, and does get some support from her father, who is apprehensive but wants to give her a chance to explore her dreams. And so she does find that by meeting a woman named Delia, who is an elderly lady, but she owns a brownstone up in New York and has a basement there that's perfect for Ricki's flower shop. And she really likes Ricki, and they do hit it off and form a type of grandmother granddaughter relationship. But what's great about this book too is that it also goes back and forth in time, because when Ricki goes up to New York, she's in Harlem, where it has the Harlem Renaissance and that history to it. And she meets a mysterious stranger named Ezra who has ties to another man named Ezra in 1920s Harlem. And that Ezra from 1920s is a musician in Harlem who's in the jazz clubs looking to rise to his own success after fleeing a racist American South. And he does have that success, but he does find some failures and some hiccups as tragedies as well. But there is a big connection between the Ezra in 2024, the present day, and the Ricki in 2024, the present day as well, because they are destined to meet and they have this huge connection. There's a lot of great chemistry with these two, and I really, really liked their relationship. I felt nothing but fluffiness throughout their entire relationship, and their chemistry's off the charts. I felt they connected, and this was just such a beautiful love story between them. But there is, of course, one thing here that does make the plan go down completely, and that is Ezra's secret in the present day. And I don't want to reveal it because I want to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, but I admit that it did kind of threw me for a loop because it was a paranormal twist, which I did like in a way, but I honestly thought it was going to go into a different direction, which I will reveal in a pinned comment down in this video, but please be forewarned, it is a spoiler, so proceed with caution. But what I really liked about A Love Song for Ricki Wilde is that it wasn't just about a love story between two people, but also their connection as artists. They really have a creative expression about them. They want to find artistic passions and they connect in that way. I also liked a lot of the supporting characters and minor characters. I loved Ricki's relationship with her landlady because they do connect very well, and she gives a lot of guidance to Ricki on what she needs to do to go forward as well as life. And I also liked Ricki's friendship with an actress named Tuesday who hasn't found much success after a long successful career, and really does connect and form well because Ricki had trouble meeting friends and connecting with them, and this is just a nice little friendship that they form, and I really liked that. It's good that a lot of romance books are starting to do that more now. But I can't say enough great things about A Love Song for Ricki Wilde. I think it's a wonderful piece. It does have some tragic elements and some triggering moments as well, involving racism and cancer and other things too, which I can't really mention too much in this video because of YouTube rules and regulations. But I do recommend A Love Song for Ricki Wilde because it's just such a wonderful book. It really touches your heart. It's got a little bit of character development and drive in it, some humor too. And I really just enjoyed it. This is an engrossing read. I highly recommend it for Valentine's Day or any time of the year because it's such a nice comfort read and fluff piece, and it does have a little bit of involvement too with a leap year, which I won't reveal too much here because again I want to try to keep it spoiler free as possible. But I really, really love this book and can't say enough about it, and highly recommend read it because it's that great. The next book is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, and this is a book that I read back in early spring 2025, so a year after A Love Song for Ricki Wilde. Nonetheless, I did enjoy this one. And the story goes that Ava and Shane are very successful authors in their own right who meet at a literary event one day in June, and they instantly hit it off, but they actually have met before. In fact, 15 years ago, when they were teenagers in high school, they met by chance and spent 7 days in a mansion in June where they got to know each other, connected, and fell in love. But then tragic events occurred where they were pulled apart forever and haven't seen each other since. Now, 15 years later, a lot has changed. Ava is, of course, a successful author of erotic fiction, and she has a young daughter named Audrey who's a teenager, and they have a very good mother daughter relationship. Whereas Shane has struggled with addiction, is now recently sober, and wants to continue to write, but finds it difficult as a result of the fact that he found he wrote better when he was under the influence rather than when he was sober. So he struggles a lot with that and has taken a role on mentoring young teenagers instead. But what I really liked about this book is that it's about second chance love. So Ava and Shane end up meeting at this literary event by chance, and it brings up old wounds, but it also reconnects them in a way that they haven't felt in 15 years, where even though so much time has passed, they still can't help but be drawn to each other, hit it off well, great chemistry, off the charts. So this connection and bond is still there. But again, there are major struggles as well. So much has changed between them. Can they really have a second chance? And Ava's got a young daughter, and he's still struggling with his sobriety. Can they really make it work this time? And that's what really explores in 7 Days in June and over the course of that week in June as well, where they're now adults and no longer teenagers. But what I liked about this book is that it's more of a character driven piece, which I really think is good for any type of romance novel because while I love the romance and fluff, I do think there needs to be a little character development. And when two people meet and they're still kind of messy, I think they need to really work on themselves before they can be together, or with anyone for that matter. And that's what I really liked about 7 Days in June. I think it's great to see these two characters who've gone through a lot of things, but still find that connection to be together. That they don't see each other as the ones to fix them, but the ones that can help make them grow and evolve as people. And I do really enjoy this book because it deals with a lot of issues as well: trauma, addiction, trying to find career success, parenthood, connections, and just trying to really work through all that in the span of 7 days. And I really, really enjoyed 7 Days in June. I think it's a great romantic fluff piece. I think it has some comfort, even with a few dark elements to it. And I think it's just a really great character driven book as well, with a lot of development between them, and how they connect and bond is great. And I think the relationship between Shane and Ava is great. And their attempts at second chance is a worthwhile run. And I really just enjoyed this. I thought it was very well done. And I highly recommend 7 Days in June if you haven't read it yet. And that concludes my double book review of 7 Days in June and A Love Song for Ricki Wilde. And these are really great books. I think Tia Williams is a great writer. And if I had to choose between 7 Days in June and A Love Song for Ricki Wilde, I would probably go with A Love Song for Ricki Wilde. I just felt more of a connection to that book, especially with the history of the Harlem Renaissance, because I do like that era. I'm a big jazz fan, so that was a nice connection with the jazz music as well. And I really, really just enjoyed these books in general, though, because I think both of them are great romantic fluff pieces. They have a little bit of character development, some trauma, and they also deal with a few dark elements to it, but it doesn't overtake the entire novels. It actually makes you see two people connecting and forming a relationship, but also struggling with their own separate issues, as well as coming together in a way that just feels right in the heart and makes you really root for them completely as a pair. And that's what you want so much for a romance novel. So I can't recommend these two books enough. And if you haven't read them yet, I highly recommend you do. And that, of course, again concludes the double book review. Now, tell me what you think. Have you read either of these books and what did you think of them? Have you read just one of it and what do you think of it? Do you think romance novels can have character driven plot points as well as growth? Do you like Tia Williams and do you want to read more of her works? Please let me know as much in the comments below. I love to hear from everyone and welcome all discussion. I thank you so much again for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell. And I'll see you next time. Bye.